doing some apricots or apricots. First, we got to decide, is it apricots or apricots?
Apricots.
No, put that in the comments. Is it apricots or apricots? So is halves in extra light syrup. I'm going to drain out the syrup part though, so we'll just have the apricots or apricots. And we need 10 pounds of them. Let's see what we can do. I'm going to put them on cookie sheets or baking sheets to pre-freeze so that they're not just stuck as a big lump. Drain these out and then find out how much it weighs without all the juice. Okay, so I might still lose a little bit more to the non-liquidy bits, but let's see how much one can is. 3 pounds, 12 ounces, almost 3 pounds, 13. So 3 cans should give me 10 pounds. So my plan is put them all out here like that to freeze them. And then there'll be separate little bits, and I can load them onto the freeze-dry trays when it's their turn, and then I can kind of reweigh them when I put them on the tray. We'll just continue, get them all on there, get them in the freezer for pre-freezing, and then later we'll put them on the freeze dryer trays. And I'm not going to worry about the touch. They'll kind of stick together, but we can kind of pop them apart when we go to use them. Might break them a little bit, but it should be good. Looks like lots and lots of little egg yolks. Let's start with the water from the broccoli. So it's a super full one. It actually, the bottom is wet, which means it actually overflowed slightly. I was planning on watching for that, but I forgot. Anyway, so there's the water from the broccoli, well over a gallon. Now, get the defrost fan out of the door and the baffle out, and we'll get the thermometer underneath. So everything's defrosted after the broccoli, getting ready for the next batch, which is fruit. We're doing canned apricots this time. I'm going to get that sealed up, get it started. I'm going to check for the ring around the door. Looks like there's a spot, and this won't be too much of a problem because it's not going to get very cold right now. But I still like to have it, the seal ring all the way around there before I start, to make sure that it stays. Actually, this, where that ring is, it actually stays a little bit warmer because it's in contact with the door. Get that started, and as usual, I'm using Customize. You could just run it, especially with the newer ones with the better electronics or the better sensors. And then I'm just going to start. Close valve, I'll get that. And then I've got it set for a freeze time of 6 hours. And with frozen things, a lot of times it doesn't need that much. Drain valve is closed, and I'm starting out at 58 degrees because it's relatively cool in here right now. Okay, it's really cool in here right now. It shouldn't take too long to pre-cool this because it's starting out at a temperature of 58 degrees in here. And I just need to get it down below, well, it's got to be below freezing. I'm putting fruit in here which has sugars in it, which means the freezing point is below 32 degrees Fahrenheit. So probably 28 or something. Usually I wait until it's in the similar to the temperature of our freezer, which is from 0 to 5 degrees. So as soon as it's cold, we'll get everything on the trays and get them in there. The freeze dryer is cool now. Time to get the apricots in. So going to get them on the trays, which of course are pre-cooled also. Might be tough again to get 10 pounds on there because it's a lot. We'll get them on there, put thermometers in, and get them in there. Getting the apricots on the tray, got the scale on. After they were frozen on the cookie sheets, then I transferred them to the 2-gallon bags to wait their turn for the freeze dryer. And now it's their turn for the freeze dryer. So tray 1. Because they could still be sticky. And I don't even know if I have 10 pounds. I used 3 number 10 cans, and I think there was more than 10 pounds, but I don't really know. So I need 1,889 on this pan total. So I'm going to just pour some out there and then straighten them out. That's pretty close. Let's start with that, see if I can get them leveled out enough. And I'm not really worried if there's going to be some on top of each other. I'm going to go ahead and add one more. It'll be over, some of them could be under. 1907. Tray 1. Tray 2. $18.86. Tray 3. And tray 4. I think we're going to have plenty. 3 of the number 10 cans gave us 10 pounds plus a little more. I don't know, another pound or two. Probably another pound. So we've got more than 10 pounds going in. So with these, I'm not going to try to drill into these. I guess I could on some of these, but basically I was going to look for a couple of them. So I could just put one on top of it and one underneath it, and kind of place a couple other ones around it to help hold it into place, and call that good enough. Let's go get them into the freeze dryer. Funk. Oh, I forgot to put that in there. Okay, so starting at the bottom, tray 4. And tray 3. And 2. Tray 1. All right. Yeah, I wish I'd remember that. That's going to all fog up now, because it makes a big difference on how cold it gets out here. Make sure that that's sealed. And again, the newer machines are designed a bit different. They may not have ever had this issue. Mine usually has a little space top and bottom. It's not a big deal. I used the little palette knife. Just put it in right in the back of the seal and give it the least little twist, and it pushes the seal up against there and completes the seal ring all the way around. So it's already been pre-cooling for about an hour and 3/4. It's -8. It was lower than that, but it went up a little when I put the relatively warm food in there, because it's only 5 degrees. In fact, the thermometers that I put in between there are reading from 0 to 10, so it's nice and chilly still. It's May 14th. The apricots are going in there now. They'll come back out probably on the 16th, and then we'll be working on the next thing after that. We'll come back and check them. Don't go away. Next, we'll turn on the cooling fan for the vacuum pump, and I'll start the timer for the circulating pump of the oil cleaner. The apricots are almost finished. Got a little more than a half hour showing still, and I had given it a couple extra hours to get it to this time of day, so I'd be here. The pressure's low, the thermometer's temperatures are up, so it's probably done, but I'm going to do the standard 2-hour check and come back and make sure that it's stopped losing weight. So let's get it stopped and check them. So you can see the temperature is up, and that pretty much matches what's inside. and the pressure is real low, so it's probably done. The temperatures on the trays are about 112, 130, 120, and about 110 for the different trays. Okay, so we'll get that, bypass the rest of that. Okay. Open the drain valve. And we'll get their initial weights at this point. And once again, I'm going to rotate the trays. I am going to rotate the trays top to bottom, even though I have no proof that there's a reason to do so. I'm just so used to doing it that I keep doing it without checking. Okay, tray 1, 927. And then I'll check tray 4, so then I can rotate the two. Say 923. And I'll put that one up at the top. And this one down at the bottom. Okay, tray 2. 916. And tray 3. 914. Okay, and then this one will go back up. So in 3 we'll go below 4, and then 2. Now they're in there 1 through 4 from bottom to top now. And we'll give it a couple more hours and make sure that they were dry. Oh, wait a minute. Just for fun, we should probably check one this way. Okay. They feel dry, they look dry. And they probably are. The ones I'd worry about are very thick pieces. Well, I can feel some, those are stuck together, and I think there's some moisture there. So I would not be surprised if these lose more weight. Okay. Now we'll get those started again. Gonna give it more dry time. Drain valve. When I first started doing the freeze drying and I saw this, please check or close the drain valve, I thought, how could you forget the drain valve? Boy, I'm glad they put this on there, because it reminds me to at least look over it every time. And half the time I need to go close it. Okay, continue. And it's still cool. And I've got a couple other things that I need to do, so I'm going to leave it at 2 plus the quarter hour. That way I can have a full 2 hours before I check it. Be back in a couple hours. Don't go away, we'll be right back. The apricots are in the final couple of minutes now, so we'll take them out, weigh them, see if they lost weight. So drain valve open. All right, let's check. Tray 1's at the bottom now, so let's get tray 1 and see what we've got. Oh, no change. I actually didn't expect that. I thought there would be change. Tray 2. No change. Tray 3. No change. And tray 4. And no change. Okay, so we can get this turned off. No defrost. Make it so much more quiet. We'll get the defrost baffle in place and the fan up there. I'll unplug the timer for the oil filtration pump. Okay, get that. So since there is no weight loss, I can put the time from 2 hours ago as when it was dry. So it was dry sometime 2 hours ago or a little past that. Hi, chicken. So I'm going to call it 40 hours and 12 minutes. Then get the power usage. So we have 27.95 kilowatt hours. We'll reset that and it'll be ready for the next one. Tray 1. So we'll get all the thermometers out and get the weights. So 916. Tray 2. 907. 904. And 913. I have some bags already labeled. I've got the batch number, what it is, apricots, that they were canned, the date that it went in, 6/14, and that a space for how much water it needs, and then I'll put how much is in it. Seems unlikely a pound's going to fit in here, but we'll get the math done and try some out. I'll be right back. Don't go away. The apricots are finished. Got them weighed. They lost 7/8 of their weight approximately. They went from almost 4,600 grams down to 646 grams. So they're nice and light now. Let's get them in a bag, find out how much will fit in a bag. I'd like to put a pound in, but these are not squishy or fluffy or anything. So chances are you can't put a pound in it. So I've got them, got the math done for 1/2 pounds and 3/4 pound, whatever it takes. So we'll get them bagged and then oxygen absorbers sealed and then into the bins. Let's see how much will fit in there. So I need 64.6 grams for a pound. But yeah, I haven't a clue how much will fit in there, so we'll find out. They're beautiful too. I might have to keep it a little bit light so I can snack on a couple of these guys. 48, so that's just about 3/4 of a pound. All right, so I'm going to go with 3/4 of a pound because I won't be able to get a pound in one of these bags. So we'll label that and we'll get them bagged as 3/4 of a pound. And of course, you could use a bigger bag, or if you want a smaller snack, use a smaller bag. These quart bags seem to be pretty decent. Oh, here, let's show what 3/4 of a pound looks like. Okay, so how's that for a serving or two? Well, it would be 3/4 of a pound. It seems like plenty. I'm going to go with 3/4. Continue. I'm going to need about 48.5 grams average. Some of them are going to be a little under and some a little over because these are pretty big pieces. Okay, a little, there we go. The apricots are all bagged now. It took 14 quart bags. I've got 3/4 of a pound in 12 of them and 1/2 pound in 2 of them. Using the 300 cc oxygen absorbers, and I had 4 left over from the previous set. So this way it'll work out perfect. I'll use up all 14. Okay, and again, I'll kind of tuck them along the side and get them closed. Because sugary things like this really want moisture out of the air, so I want to get them closed as quickly as possible. All right, get them all zippered shut, and With the 3/4 pound ones, there really isn't any extra space at the top to squish out any of the extra air. So a wide 5mm sealer. And I'm going to assume that the numbers on mine would be meaningless on yours unless it's the exact same model with the exact same number of bags that have already been used. I don't know how the resistance of this would change over time. But this dial goes from 1 to 8, and I'm running it at about a 6 or 7. But it's a little cooler on the first bag. So I do it twice on the first bag to make sure that it's all the way up to temperature. Okay, keeping the seal as high as possible so I have room on the seal area for 2 or 3 more tries if that one has a problem or if I want to cut it open.
I'm trying to remember to mention more often that our machine is from 2017 with the older firmware that came with that. We decided not to upgrade it because I really like the controls it has. Harvestrite seems to have made quite a few upgrades to their machine and their firmware since we got ours. It seems like it's a much faster machine and knows what's happening better inside the chamber. Anyway, we'll stick with what we have until it dies or wears out, and then see what we need to do then. The point of this is to say that what we do with this machine won't translate exactly to anything you could do with your machine unless it's the same year and same model and still has the same firmware. So consider that when you're watching the videos, that it might not be an exact translation to what yours will do, because yours is probably newer and better. And that also, I like to tear my machines apart and see what makes them tick. I'm not exactly kind to my machines.
Okay, last bag. So again, I've got the batch number for me, what it is, the date that it went into the freeze dryer, how much it weighed before it was freeze dried, and that it needs this much water if I want to bring it back to that amount of hydration. These are really good dry. We've never rehydrated an apricot, but you could. Like for instance, if you're going to chop them up and put them in muffins or something, then you might want to add this much water to it. That way it would have that amount to soak it up. Otherwise it might end up dry. The apricots are all bagged, ready to go in the bin. We'll get those in the bin, they're stored away. We'll put them on the list that goes on the computer so we'll be able to find them again. And then as soon as the freeze dryer is finished defrosting, we'll get the next batch in there. Next thing down the list is dairy again. This time I'm doing cottage cheese. When I do cottage cheese, I like to do the large curd cottage cheese because when you freeze dry it and rehydrate it, it seems to break down a little bit and become smaller. So if I start with a medium, then it becomes small or smaller. So it seems like if I start with the large, it comes out pretty well. Okay, we'll get these in the bin and move on. So we've got the chopped broccoli already in there, and you can see it's kind of sucked down now because of the oxygen absorbers. We'll go ahead and get the apricots in there and move on from there. I think I need to put some down the middle. There we go. So those are in there, and now we're ready to move on to the next thing. I got nothing else, so let's go ahead and do it.